Imagine this. You find a lost phone. You try to do the right thing. Then it rings and the caller ID shows your number. What would you do? I wasn't planning on doing anything unusual that Saturday morning. Just the usual grocery run: bread, eggs, some cheap coffee, because my budget was already shot halfway through the month. Safeway's parking lot in Ballard was half empty. The kind of quiet morning where even the pigeons looked hungover. That's when I saw it. Right by the cart return, glinting in the sun, a phone. Not some old brick, either. A newer Android, thin, sleek, with one corner chipped like it had kissed the pavement too hard. My first instinct: okay, someone's panicking right now. The screen was dark, but when I tapped it, it lit up. Wallpaper of a golden retriever and the words, "If found, call me, Jay." A number was pinned to the lock screen. Simple, right? Just call the number, hand it over, done. Except life doesn't really work that clean. I stuck the phone in my jacket pocket, figuring I'd dial the number once I got into my car. But the moment I slid into the driver's seat, the damn thing buzzed. Unknown number. I swiped. Hi, this is my phone. Thank you for finding it. The voice was calm, kind of average sounding, maybe early 30s, male. He asked me where I was.
Now imagine what happens next. But before that, smash that like button and hit subscribe, cause the craziest part is just getting started.
I told him Safeway, Ballard. He chuckled, said he was in the area, and suggested we meet at Victrola Coffee later that afternoon. Easy handoff, coffee on him. Seemed normal, but an hour later, things went sideways. I was back home, groceries on the counter, scrolling through my own phone when the found phone buzzed again. Caller ID, private number. No big deal, right? Except when I picked it up, I froze. On the screen of the found phone, right under private number, was my own name. My number was calling me. I literally stared at the screen, waiting for it to change. My phone, lying 2 feet away on the counter, was dead silent. Still locked, still mine. I swore under my breath and let the call time out. A minute later, my actual phone buzzed. Notification from Gmail. Password reset requested. The kicker? It wasn't me. I felt this cold crawl up my neck. The kind you get when you're sure someone's standing behind you, but no one's there. Okay, maybe it's a spoof. People spoof numbers all the time. Except how the hell did they match mine down to the contact name? I opened both phones side by side, staring at the identical 10-digit sequence. My phone was clean. The found phone? Locked tight. I tried the coffee shop guy again, just to check. Straight to voicemail. His recording sounded friendly, upbeat. "Hey, you've reached Jay. Leave a message." I hung up. By noon, the found phone had rung 3 more times. Each time, private number. Each time showing my own number. I didn't answer again. Couldn't. My hands were shaking just from hearing my ringtone come from someone else's device. I told myself I'd drop it off at T-Mobile or Verizon. Let them handle it. Maybe it was all some weird software bug. Maybe Jay was just unlucky and his phone got hacked at the same time I picked it up. But deep down, knew it wasn't that. The weirdest part? Around 2 in the afternoon, I heard it again, that old school Nokia ringtone, faint, echoing down my hallway. My stomach dropped, because that was the exact same ringtone the found phone used. And it wasn't coming from my kitchen. It was coming from the hall outside my apartment. I crept to the peephole. Empty. Just the usual beige hallway with peeling paint. I cracked the door open anyway. Nothing. But when I looked down, something was there. A piece of paper, folded once, clean white, like it had just come out of a printer. I picked it up. Typed words, not handwritten. "Keep it charged. We'll call again." No signature. That's when I realized I wasn't just holding onto a lost phone. I was holding onto someone's bait. I didn't sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard that ringtone again. Not from the phone, but from somewhere outside, echoing like a ghost. By morning, I'd convinced myself I was being paranoid. Just stress. Too much Reddit. Too much true crime binge watching, right? Except the phone rang again around 9. Same private number. Same weird chill when I saw my own digits flashing back at me. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Hey, this is Jay," the voice said, cheerful but rushed. Thanks for holding onto my phone. Sorry about yesterday, work ran late. Something in his tone felt off. A little too casual, too rehearsed. I said, listen man, this thing is freaking me out. It keeps calling me from my own number. There was a pause, then a soft chuckle. Oh, yeah, that happens sometimes. Spoofers, you know how it is. No, and know how it is. I've worked in IT. Sure, number spoofing happens, but not usually like this. Not with perfect timing. Not tied to someone's lock screen info. Jay carried on like nothing was weird. Anyway, let's meet up. I'll grab my phone, buy you coffee. Easy. Where? I asked. He named a spot downtown, a busy cafe on Pike Street. Noon? Look, just bring it charged, okay? He added quickly. That's important. Keep it charged. That phrase made my skin crawl. Why did he emphasize that? It wasn't a normal request. I agreed just to end the call. By 11, the phone buzzed again. A text this time. Photo attached. It was a kitchen counter, dog bowl on the floor. Same golden retriever from the lock screen sitting in the background, panting happily. On the counter, today's Seattle Times. Front page headline clear as day. The caption, proof it's mine. At first glance, legit, but then it hit me, why send a proof photo if we'd already arranged to meet? And if he really wanted his phone back, why not just show up at the original Safeway the same day? I showed the pic to my neighbor, Emma, when I ran into her in the hallway. She's a nurse, practical, doesn't spook easily. She frowned. Don't go, she said flatly. This feels like a setup. Drop it at Verizon, then deal with it. I can't just keep someone's phone, I said. You can if it's bait, she shot back. I laughed nervously, but her words stuck. Still, around noon, drove downtown. The cafe was packed, the usual weekend crowd. I sat near the window, the phone on the table, waiting. 15 minutes. No Jay. Then the phone buzzed. Private number again. I answered. See me? The voice asked. I scanned the cafe, the sidewalk outside. Dozens of faces, no one familiar. Where are you? I said. I see you, he replied, ignoring my question. My skin prickled. Just come get your phone, I snapped, louder than I meant to. A few heads turned. There was silence on the line. Then, relax. No need to make a scene. Click. That was it. Call ended. I sat there for another 10 minutes, heart hammering, before I finally left. When I got back to my car, there was something tucked under the windshield wiper. Another white paper, folded once. Typed again. Stop stalling. Tonight? No signature. No instructions. Just those words. By now, my nerves were shot. I drove straight home, double-locked my door, and set both phones on the counter. That's when my own phone buzzed again, a push notification from my bank. Suspicious login attempt detected. I opened the app. Someone had tried to access my account from another device. Blocked, thankfully. But the timing was too perfect. I looked over at the found phone. It was glowing faintly, screen black but backlight on, like it was watching me. And for the first time, I wondered if the person on the other end even cared about the phone. Maybe they cared about me. I tried to convince myself to just drop the phone at a carrier store and be done with it. But something about the notes, the tone, the timing made me feel like it wasn't that simple. Whoever Jay was, he wasn't just another distracted dude who lost his Android. That night, the phone buzzed again. Text message. We need to verify it's charged. Send me the code that just arrived. At the same time, my own phone ping. A 6-digit verification code from Gmail. My Gmail. My heart sank. They weren't trying to get their phone back. They were trying to get into mine. I didn't reply. 10 seconds later, another text came through. Don't play dumb. I can see your building. Keep it charged. I shot up from the couch, yanked the blinds open. Outside, the street was quiet, just parked cars, a jogger passing by. No one obvious, but the wording wasn't random. See your building? That wasn't a bluff. I powered the found phone down completely and shoved it in a drawer. My hands were shaking as I double-checked every lock, every deadbolt. Around 2 in the morning, it happened again. My phone lit up with a FaceTime request. Caller ID, private. Against every ounce of common sense, I tapped accept. At first, just blackness. Then faint light, like a street lamp. A figure came into frame, but only partially, shoulder. Half a jawline. Male, he whispered, almost playful. Now, and the call dropped. I barely slept. The next morning, Emma knocked on my door. She held up a piece of masking tape she'd peeled off my apartment doorframe. Stuck to it was a tiny black dot, one of those cheap Bluetooth trackers you can buy online. "They tagged your door," she said flatly. I felt my stomach turn. "So they're not after the phone?" "They're after me," Emma nodded. "Yeah, they want access. That phone is just the hook." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. All this because I tried to do the right thing? By midday, another text came in. This time from a different number. "You want this to end? Meet tonight. Bring the phone. Pike Place Market, 7 p.m. Don't make me call again." No name, no signature, just the demand. I stared at the message for a long time. My mind spun with options. Call the cops, they'd shrug. I knew it. Go to the carrier, they'd take the device, but not the threat. Or just show up and see who the hell was behind this. Emma begged me not to. "You think this ends with coffee and a handshake?" "No, this is a setup. If you go, you don't go alone." She was right. But I also knew one thing. If I didn't face this, it wasn't going away. They knew my number, they knew my building, and if they could slip a tracker under my door, what was stopping them from coming in next time? That evening, I sat in my car a block from Pike Place, the found phone glowing on the passenger seat. 7 o'clock sharp, it rang. Private number, my own digits. I answered. "Good," the voice said. "Calm, too calm. Now walk. I'll find you." I hung up instead. And that's when I saw him, a tall guy in a black bomber jacket, leaning against a lamppost, staring straight at me. And when our eyes met, he smiled, not friendly, just satisfied. I sat there in my car, engine off, watching the guy in the bomber jacket. He didn't move, just leaned against that lamppost like he owned the block, one hand buried in his pocket, the other holding a paper cup he wasn't drinking from. My gut screamed at me to leave. But before I could start the car, the found phone lit up again. Another text. "We see you. Don't run." I looked back toward the lamppost. The guy tilted his head slightly, like he was in on some private joke. Screw this. I got out of the car, heart pounding, palms sweating, every instinct telling me I was making the dumbest move of my life. I kept the phone in my hand, screen glowing. The crowd at Pike Place Market moved around me, tourists, locals, vendors, but suddenly, all felt staged, like background actors in someone else's play. As I approached, the man smiled wider. "Jay?" asked, voice sharper than I intended. He shook his head slowly. "I'm just here to pick it up." His tone was casual, but his eyes never blinked. "That's not what we agreed," I shot back. "Where's the guy I talked to?" He smirked. "He's busy." Something about the way he said it froze me in place. I glanced around, half expecting someone else to appear, and sure enough, a woman stepped out of the crowd, walking straight toward me. Mid-30s, maybe, red coat, sunglasses. Despite the fading daylight, she stopped a few feet away and said, "That's my husband's phone. Give it here." Her voice was polite, almost sweet. Too sweet. I tightened my grip. "What's his name?" I asked. She hesitated, just for a second. "James." Wrong. On the lock screen, the note had only said J, no full name. "And what's the code word?" I pressed. Her smile didn't falter, but she didn't answer. Instead, she stepped closer, hand out. "Come on. You've held it long enough. Don't make this complicated." My chest went cold. This was it, the setup. "I'm calling the cops," I blurted, fumbling for my own phone. Before I could even dial, police cruiser rolled slowly down the street. Lights off, just cruising. The woman in red instantly backed away, blending back into the crowd. The guy in the bomber jacket crossed the street like nothing happened, tossing his cup into a trash bin. The cruiser passed, oblivious, and just like that, they were gone. I stood there, shaking, feeling like I'd just been shoved into some alternate reality where I was the only one who knew something dangerous was happening. People bustled past me with flowers and fish and coffee cups, completely unaware. The found phone buzzed in my hand again. This time, not a call. A push notification. Instagram login attempt detected. It wasn't just the phone they wanted. It was my life, my accounts, my data, my identity. And they were willing to walk right up to me in broad daylight to get it. That night, I couldn't even bring myself to turn off the lights. Every creak of the building sounded like a footstep. Every corridor outside felt like it was right under my window. I shoved the found phone inside an old cookie tin, wrapped it in aluminum foil like some makeshift Faraday cage, and stuffed it under my bed. For an hour, nothing. Silence. Then my own phone rang. Private number. I let it go to voicemail. Seconds later, a text popped up. Nice try. You can't hide from us. Another text followed. This one with a photo. My apartment door. Taken from the hallway. Time stamped 5 minutes ago. My blood turned to ice. I grabbed my baseball bat from the closet and peeked through the peephole. Empty hallway. Not a sound. I called Emma. Someone's outside, I whispered. Call the cops, she hissed back. I tried last time. They don't take this stuff seriously. Emma didn't even hesitate. I'm coming over. 10 minutes later, she was at my door, holding a small GoPro and a can of pepper spray. She moved like a soldier, checking corners, whispering, if they're tracking you, we need evidence. We set up the GoPro facing the hall, lights off, door chained. Inside, my heart thumped like a drum. At midnight, the found phone began vibrating again, even inside the tin. I could feel it through the bed frame. Then my own phone chimed. Another code request. This time from my bank. I yanked the tin out and opened it. The phone screen glowed with a single message. Bring it to us or we'll come get it. I stared at Emma. This isn't random. This is organized. She nodded grimly. And they're desperate. Look, she turned her laptop toward me. Reverse image search on that golden retriever from the photo. Stock image. It's fake. All of it. She clicked again. Another window popped up. And that number? The one texting you? It's been linked to phishing scams in 3 states. This isn't a lost phone. It's bait. I felt like an idiot. The whole time I'd been worrying about doing the right thing, and really, I'd been holding a Trojan horse. Emma shut her laptop. You can't give it back. You need to kill it. How? I asked. Factory reset won't cut it. Pull the SIM. Destroy it. Drop the shell somewhere public. I hesitated. And if they come after me? Her eyes hardened. Then we get proof and go to the feds. This is interstate crime. For the first time in days, I felt a spark of control. I dug a screwdriver out of my junk drawer, popped the SIM tray, and snapped the card in half. The screen flickered, then went black. We stared at it for a long moment. No vibration, no glow, just dead silence. And then a knock at the door. 3 slow knocks. Emma grabbed the pepper spray. I gripped the bat. Another knock. Louder. I moved toward the peephole and froze. It wasn't the bomber jacket guy. It wasn't the woman in red. It was a man in a suit. Expensive looking. Silver tie. Briefcase in hand. He smiled straight at the peephole like he knew I was watching. And then he spoke through the door. Calm as anything. Mr. Davis, we'd like to have a word. I stood frozen at the door, bat in one hand, my pulse pounding in my ears. The man outside didn't fidget, didn't look around nervously like the others. He just waited, calm and patient, with that immaculate suit and polished shoes reflecting the hallway light. Mr. Davis, he repeated, tone smooth, like he was there to sell me life insurance. We need to talk about the phone. Emma mouthed at me. Don't open it. I whispered back. He knows my name. She shook her head. That doesn't mean he's legit. I pressed my eye back to the peephole. The man's smile hadn't moved an inch. Too perfect. Too rehearsed. What do you want? I shouted through the door. He tilted his head slightly, as if amused. We'd like to recover what belongs to us. You've been holding it long enough. It's time. Whose phone is this? I demanded. Silence for a beat. Then, not yours. Something about the way he said it clipped. Sharp sent a chill crawling up my back. Emma gestured for me to step away, but I couldn't. I had to know. If this is official, show me ID. Badge? Paperwork? Anything. He actually chuckled. You think this is about badges? Then he bent down, lowering his face to the peephole, and whispered, you should have left it where you found it. The knock came again. harder this time. 3 booming thuds that rattled the frame. Emma yanked me back. "We're calling 911. I fumbled for my phone, dialed, heart racing. While the line rang, I looked back at the peephole and he was gone. Just an empty hallway, like he'd vanished into thin air. Dispatch answered. I stammered out the situation, and they promised to send someone. 10 minutes, they said. Those 10 minutes felt like an eternity. When the cops finally arrived, 2 uniforms in a patrol car, the hallway was empty. No suited man, no notes, nothing. They humored me, took a brief statement, even glanced at the dead phone. I showed them, but the vibe was clear. They thought I was paranoid, maybe overtired. After they left, Emma and I sat in silence. The phone lay on the table, screen black, SIM snapped. "Maybe it's over," she whispered. I wanted to believe her, but then my laptop pinged. New email, subject line, "We're not done." The sender? My own email address. I clicked it open with shaking hands. Inside was a single photo attachment. I double-clicked. It was me, standing at my kitchen counter, holding the baseball bat. The photo had been taken from outside the window minutes ago. Emma gasped when she saw it. I slammed the laptop shut, heart trying to punch its way out of my chest. "This isn't just about the phone," I said, voice cracking. "They want me. They've been in here the whole time." Emma put a hand on my shoulder. "Then we go public. We post everything. Make noise. That's the only way." I nodded numbly, but deep down, I wasn't sure noise would save me. These people weren't hiding anymore. They had my number, my accounts, my building, my name. And now, they had proof they could reach me whenever they wanted. I grabbed the dead phone one last time, staring at its blank screen. My reflection looked warped in the glass, like it was laughing at me. And then, just as Emma reached for her coat, the phone lit up. No SIM, no service, no explanation. One word glowing in the middle of the screen. "Look out." The lights in my apartment flickered, and then the screen went black again.